Hello, today's tutorial is about scanning and painting your Zentangle project. So the first thing I wanted to do is show you a couple pieces of equipment and how they work. And I also want to demonstrate how to set up a basic scanner. So in our classroom we've got a certain type of scanners, but there are different kinds of scanners everywhere. So I think sometimes it's just a little bit of troubleshooting to get it to work how you want it to. So you need to start with something to scan. So we've been working on a black and white image, either a pattern or a Zentangle or something that includes a lot of nice, clearly drawn black and white imagery. Mine happens to be floral. I think it goes this way. And notice there's some sections that are completely closed and then the background section is completely open. So you want to imagine if you were to click your paint bucket in one of those sections that it's going to fill until it hits some pixels to make it stop. So plan ahead as you're doing your drawing and make sure that you're aware of how the Photoshop program is going to be able to paint your design. Okay, so here's my drawing, and then for our scanners we are using a simple Canon scanner. They're kind of big, but you're welcome to get them out of the cupboard, move them around, and set them next to your computer space. And then you have two cords that should be with your scanner from the cupboard. So I'm going to set down my scanner near my computer, and I want to make sure I've got my USB cord connected to a USB port, and then I need to find a power cord or an outlet to plug my scanner into. Now in this classroom that can be tricky because a lot of the power cord plugs are taken, so don't ever just yank somebody else's computer cord out because their computer could be plugged in. But you might need to, even as you might see on my situation here, my cords are actually dangling across an aisle to make sure that they reach to my computer. So now that I've got everything plugged in, I should see this blue light appear that my scanner is on. So step one is to make sure you've turned on the scanner, which is actually hiding right here. So the on-off switch is number one. Sometimes people get really frustrated and they realize they haven't even plugged in the scanner or turned on the scanner. So now it's on, and I'm just going to open the lid, and you're going to notice that there's a little arrow in the upper right-hand corner, and you just want to put your project face down just like a copy machine, and now you're ready to scan. So to scan, I'm going to go ahead and close this since we're done with this situation. Just a reminder, I don't usually use the buttons on the scanner. I scan directly into Photoshop because it has a really easy setup to do that step. So here we are in Photoshop. This is what it's going to look like when you've scanned it. But to start out, what you're going to do is, I'm just going to close this to start from scratch so you guys can kind of see the full steps. So here we are in Photoshop, and then I have to start by going File, Import, Images from Device. So those are the steps you take to get into the scanner software. So now I'm going to click that. And here it's showing me a preview of what I just scanned, but yours should probably be blank, or it could possibly even have somebody else's image in it. Don't worry about that because when you scan your own, it'll replace it with what you're scanning. So I keep the mode at flatbed. I also want to uncheck detect separate items. Sometimes that's checked and it's going to try to scan every little item as a separate document, which is not what we want for this project. I'm going to scan it to the desktop just so that I see a little project appear over here. And then I want it to create a new Photoshop document so I have one fresh to start with. Now your CanoScan software should appear under devices. If for some reason it doesn't appear, a couple things could be wrong. Number one, your scanner could be turned off. Maybe your scanner's not plugged in completely. Sometimes people don't put the cords in the ports right. So double check if you're not seeing that. Something is not right, so it's not attached. So now that I hit scan, scanner warms up, it makes some noises, takes just a couple seconds to get set, and you should start to see your image appear as this process is happening. Alright, so there's my image, and what I notice is it should instantly come into Photoshop. If you want to make any adjustments on it, you could always go back to that scanner software and go show details. Oops. Looks like I've got an error there, so I'm going to skip that step. But if you do run into trouble with that, let me know and I can help you out with scanning. So I'm going to stop this tutorial because that first step was just to learn how to do scanning and get your image into Photoshop. The next tutorial is going to be about how to prepare your image for coloring and how to color with the Wacom tablet.